our first lesson today, 1.1. We're going to learn about variables and expressions. Your learning target for today, you're going to be able to translate between numerical and algebraic expressions. You're going to be able to translate and identify what's numerical and what's algebraic. So you need some vocab words. Variable. Variable is just a letter that represents a number. A letter that represents a number. A numerical expression. Numerical expression only has numbers. So a numerical expression only has numbers. For instance, 1 plus 1, numerical only numbers. 3 plus 4, numerical because there's only numbers. So what do you think algebraic means? Has what? What do you think? Has a letter, also known as variable. So has, we'll just go ahead and write has a letter or letters. It can have more than one. Okay? Like x plus 5. Algebraic, there's a letter. 3 plus 2 plus b. Algebraic, there's a letter. If there's a letter, it's algebraic. Okay? So let's look at our guiding questions. This one says, what is the difference between numerical and algebraic? Do you know? Do you know? Great.
One has only letters and one has letters.
Yep, the difference is a letter. One has a letter, one doesn't, right? So if you feel good about this, awesome. You're on a good route for the first part of the homework. The first part of the homework is just writing down, is it algebraic or numerical? Like all you're writing is the word algebraic or the word numerical. It's just identifying. The next part of our learning target, you need to know how to write an expression using words, okay? Or going from words to a symbol. There's 4 operations in our math world. They just keep getting more and more advanced. But they're always adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. Those are the 4 things we always do. So when you're asked to create an expression today, use this table to help you know what operation you need to use. Okay? Now that you're in 8th grade, there are, of course, a more popular choice of a vocab word because they want to try to make you look super smart. So they're like, I'm going to use the smartest sounding word I can. So for adding, which one do you think is the one that they would use? Hunter. Sum. Sum is Mr. Popularity. Everybody be like, oh, I want to use the sum. Let's use sum in every problem. Okay? Subtraction, there's 2 popular ones. Tatiana.
Difference.
Super, super, super. Fewer than is slightly like on a tie. What do you think would be the other one besides fewer than? Right?
Minus.
Minus is one of those like 5 minus 3. Like kind of a more generic one. So what do you think?
Less than.
Less than is the huge one that they use, and about 90% of kids get it wrong. Isn't that funny? You're like, what? It's just subtraction. Order matters for subtraction, though. So beware, they will try to trick you. Multiplication. Which one do you think is the fancy one there? Okay, I want a new one. Gatlin, which one do you think is the fancy one?
Product.
Product. Yep, product is the fancy one. And lastly, division. Deja.
Quotient.
Quotient is definitely the fancy one.
Why would a third be on there?
Because a third is 1/3. 1/3 is just dividing by 3. Yep. 1/3 is divided by 3, and so is a half. Just like if you think about half, a half is 1/2. It's just dividing by 2. A third, 1/3, divided by 3. A fourth, 1/4, divided by 4. Anything that's like a 1 on top, you're just dividing by the bottom. Okay, so look at this question. What are 3 vocab words that can multiply or that can represent multiplication? Well, there they are. Okay? And this is where you're answering it kind of like in your brain, like, oh, definitely product, times, okay, twice. Division. What are 3 vocab words that represent division? Okay? So that's kind of a study tool for you. Next, let's apply this. So given a word phrase, let's translate. Translate just means change to symbols. Like transformers, you change, translate. So how I do this, my strategy, is I box off the vocab word. And then I use the table I just gave you to match the operation. So 5 more than K. Vocab is more than. What does more than mean? And if you feel confused, look at that chart. Yeah. 5 more than K. So have K, add 5. You could have flipped it too for this one. Nine less than K. Vocab word is the less than. Less than means subtract. However, it's not 9 minus K. That's where most kids are going to think it's 9 minus K. It is K, then take 9 away from it. It says 9 less than what? K. So you have to have your K first. Yep.
So when you add, it doesn't matter which way you put it?
Yep, exactly. Addition doesn't matter the order. Subtraction does. Y minus 10. What's my vocab word, class? Say it out loud. What does minus mean? There, y minus 10. Do you love this? Me too. The quotient of T and 9, what's the vocab word? Austin, what's the vocab word?
Quotient.
It is. Quotient. What does quotient mean? Eli, what's it mean? It sure does. Guess what? We use division as a fraction bar. So the quotient of T and 9. Okay? Yeah, whatever is first, this goes on the top, this goes on the bottom. Okay? Product of 7 and 14. Vocab word, Connor, what's a vocab word? Product. Lydia, what does product mean? Multiply. So we don't like to go 7 times 14 now that we're algebra kids, because that looks like 7x 14. So we can write it with parentheses, is my favorite. It looks really cute to me. You could also write it with a dot. You could also write it with a asterisk, which just looks like a little star. That's my favorite. Okay, the next one is more advanced. We're going to do one of them. Okay? It says 10 less than. So I have 2 vocab words going on here. I have less than the product of right? I have a less than, and I have a product, means multiply. So if I say 10 less than, it's less than something, so that has to go second. Anytime you have less than, you put it second. What is it less than? The product of 4 and F. So how do you write the product of 4 and F? Hunter?
4 and F together.
4 and F together. Beautiful. Or you could go 4 dot F minus 10. Or F dot 4 minus 10. Or 4 X F. But we don't like that one. Okay? So, let me see, what's our question? How do you know when you need to use parentheses? You haven't yet, that's this one. How you answer that, parentheses are pretty important if you have two operations lengths. So if you have two operations that are going on, or vocab words, you have to include parentheses somewhere. It would be, here it would be with the product. Whatever the order of operations would tell you to do. Okay, I don't think this page is as important.